Yeah, I guess we start. I can maybe introduce myself, but I guess most of you people know me. So my name is Patrick, co-president of Sustainability Week International. Yeah, and I'm really happy that we finally managed to do our first capacity building here and provide some more information on how we imagine or how we can help you to efficiently organize the Sustainability Week. And today with me is my co-president, Marie-Claire. You can maybe introduce yourself and yeah, then directly start afterwards with the presentation.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Yes, thank you, Patrick. My name is Marie-Claire. I'm also from Switzerland. And first, 2017, we started the Sustainability Week Switzerland. And last year, we started the Sustainability Week International together. And I'm very happy that we are all here and that we can have this first webinar like this together. And I'm looking forward to have many more exchanges and webinars all together. But I guess we can just jump into the presentation. Patrick, you have to move the slides.
Yes, I know. Just give me a second.
So Together for Sustainability is our motto at the Sustainability Week, because we believe in the power and the potential of young people like you to co-create solutions for the most pressing sustainability challenges of our time. Our vision, we empower students to bring sustainability in all aspects of higher education institutions globally. And our aspiration is for students worldwide to turn their institutions into sustainability role models, as you are already doing. Because you probably all know that exploiting limited natural resources and raising inequality, loss of biodiversity, and the climate crisis are all global challenges. And these challenges can only be answered with a global response and a real change and transformations towards more sustainability. And also, like, that's why we of the sustainability, we will talk later about it, have like the concept of a strong sustainability. And that's also why we think it's very important that sustainability is implemented in the higher education institutions. And that's why we established the Sustainability Weeks and also now do it internationally, that everyone, all the students around the world have the chance to be part of this movement and yeah, support this vision and be part of this vision, that we can have even more success, because as mentioned, we need a global response to global challenges. So we empower students to bring sustainability into all aspects of higher education institutions globally, and we can only do this with your help. Next slide. At the Sustainability Week, we have to realize our vision, we organize or we support the organization of local sustainability weeks, as you are all doing. And there we have 4 main aspects. The first one is mentor young people to act for more sustainability. This is mostly to do with skill development and youth development. The second part is that we inform citizens to inspire for sustainability, that we do this through this event series, what you or most of you have already been organizing, and some will soon organize. The third pillar is empower higher education institutions to enable sustainability. This can be done also through obviously the events, but also through demands and solutions. And the last one, obviously, as we have already now in the call, is we encourage communities to change their behavior for more sustainability. And this is mostly done through our network for support and cooperation. This can be on a local level, on a regional level, but also on the national and the international level, as we do it right now. And all this together, we all contribute to and co-create a better world and a future for all of us. So these are the 4 main pillars we have at the Sustainability Week. And we from the international level mostly try to really mentor and give you the tools and support you, that you are then enabled to organize the event series, and also that you can approach your university with some concrete demands. And also we support you, especially on the international level, that we have the network. And I just wanted to ask if there is any question at the moment. You can always just like raise your hand. But I don't see any question until now. Perfect. Good. Then we can go on, Patrick. Here are some pictures from Switzerland. And basically, we just want to show how diverse sustainability we can be. I showed you these 4 pillars we have, where we base our work on. But like within this framework and within this concept, there is so much room to explore. And also, since we do it internationally, it's very important for us that we also have your local perspective, because we don't know how it is in Gambia, we don't know how it is in Indonesia, in Peru, in Pakistan, in India, in Tanzania. So it's very important that you within this framework can also develop the week according to your local circumstances. And these are some pictures from Switzerland, where you like see like how very like a big variety of formats we use, but also a variety of topics and content. But everything like is again combined, that's interrelated to sustainability, and it's tackling in one or the other way sustainability. Next slide, Patrick. So you probably all have your personal logos, or you will get them very soon. I just quickly wanted to highlight how we developed this logo. You are probably aware of the 3 dimensions of sustainability: society, economy, and environment. And there are different models, and we believe in the concept of the strong sustainability. Basically, this means that the Earth is like there are like limits. There are these planetary boundaries. So basically, it's very easy to explain. You cannot take more from the Earth than the Earth can provide. And only if we respect these planetary boundaries, we can have a sustainable and stable society, which is the red circle. And only if if we as a society live within the planetary boundaries, and that we have a sustainable and an equal society, we can within this concept build a sustainable economy, which is serving the people, and the people are serving again nature. So it cannot be that the economy is taking over and this then led to our logo, as you probably have already seen. So it's a short explanation about our logo and the meaning behind our logo. So the concept we are using is the strong model of sustainability, because it's really respecting the planetary boundaries as the most important dimension. And that's also like why it's really fundamental in our vision and our mission. Good. The next slide, Patrick. As quickly mentioned in the beginning, the concept we are using for the sustainability started already quite some time ago in 2013, when some students in Zurich, this is the biggest city in Switzerland, organized the first sustainability week. It was very small. And then there was a very small sustainability week 3 years later in Geneva, but it was still very small. And then we had the chance to present it in the national radio and television, and then it spread all over Switzerland. That's why we then founded the Sustainability Week Switzerland in 2017. And we organized 13 sustainability weeks, local sustainability weeks across the whole country. You might wonder it's 13, but Switzerland is very small. So with 13 sustainability weeks, we already reached 96% of all students in Switzerland. So we had pretty big reach already, and that's why then a lot of students, exchange students, but also from the United Nations approached us. Can we have something like this also international? There are like so many students who would love to organize sustainability weeks. And then Patrick and I came together and thought, yeah, let's do it. Like, why not? And then we founded the Sustainability Week International throughout last year. And yeah, and then we met all of you, and you have been already very busy in organizing sustainability weeks all around the world, and we are very happy. And now we are in 2020, so the last dot you can see, 2020 and the future. And our main aim for 2020 and the future is to spread the concept and connect students all around the world and organize more local sustainability weeks and support mainly you in your personal mission to organize sustainability weeks. Everything clear until now, or is there a question? Good, then I hand over to Patrick and you can move on.
There is a question from Emmanuel. Let's go for him. Yes, Emmanuel, you can speak.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Claire, and all the participants for the nice presentation. I have a question before I move forward to the whole presentation on the logo. We know sustainability has some pillars. I mean, people, planet, and profit. So how do you relate your role with sustainability pillars? Thank you.
So if I got the question correctly, so the pillars you see in the beginning, so people would then be society. So they're like different names we use, but mainly it's all around like people, human, society. Then it's about like what people are doing, so the economic part, and then it's about it's sometimes it's called nature, it's called the environment, or it's called planet. So these are like the main three pillars. So you see like the planet one would then be the green one, the people one would then be the red one, and the economy one would be the blue one. And so they are the different concepts. Either it's like the first model that they are like all equally important. But what we can also see now that if you have a very strong economy, which is harming the planet and the people, it's not sustainable. So that's why actually quite some years back, people developed the second model, which is the model of the strong sustainability. What you can see in the middle, that you have like this interdependency. So the planet and the earth, nature has to be, we have to respect the limits of the planetary boundaries. And then within the limit of this, of the planet, and if this is like sustainably used, we can have a sustainable and stable society. And only if this society is based on equality and on shared resources and responsibilities, then you can have an economy. And we believe that, yeah, it's very important that we respect the planetary boundaries and we respect the boundaries of our society. And that's why we have this logo. But I can also send you some links. Maybe it's like a lot of information at the moment. I can send you something so you can read more about it. But I hope it was clear and answering your question.
Maybe as a short remark, the term pillar is for this slide here, of course, very irritating because there are no pillars shown here. But in the old previous model, these three would be equal pillars, like standing next to each other. And this is like actually going away from the pillar model. That's why it's maybe the term is a bit not very useful for this graph.
Wonderful. Then I would hand over to Patrick for the structure.
Yes, if there are no other questions, I'll continue. So I guess most of you already know this slide. So that is just the overall organizational structure of Sustainability Week International. So our own body is here. And of course, in the beginning, this is where actually all of you so far are. You have one or two local sustainability weeks in your country, and that's why you are directly in contact with an advisor from our side. Later, when some countries will grow, especially in Nigeria, we will have the situation very soon when there are more than 3 or more local sustainability weeks active in a country. Then we will try to establish also a national sustainability week, which is also not a body organizing a week by themselves, but just doing actually a similar thing than we do in Switzerland, and also on international level, but of course only like very specific for the national things, because a lot of things like laws and ambitions and everything are very depending on the country, and it is very useful to have this. And also this will be later easier for us, because if we would like to handle sustainability weeks international and be in contact with every local sustainability week all the time, even there are 3 or more in every country, that would just be way too much connection. So this will be the model that we'll aim for the future, but for now, in the beginning, this is absolutely fine. And especially also maybe for the code of conduct, you all know that there is the rule that we have 75% of students in a local sustainability week. But this is not applied for the National Sustainability Week and also not for Sustainability Week International. The reason is the one that people during their studies, they organize a local sustainability week, so they gain experience, and afterwards, when they have 1, 2, 3 years, how many years ever they were in the organizing team, they will be, even afterwards, if they're not studying anymore, if they're already graduated, they will be able to share their knowledge from this national body or even from the international body, because that's the same what we do as well. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. I guess this is rather clear. Otherwise, raise your hand. So what we detected were that a lot of teams struggle a bit, or are maybe not optimal structured. And actually, we had the same problem for us internally as well. So we tried to structure that. We actually did that during the last several months, because before we were working with the 4 members in the core team of Sustainability Week International, but we didn't really divide work. And that is maybe fine to work in a very small team, 4 or 5 people maximum. But if a team grows, you need to have more structure. You need to have specific spaces, departments or divisions or whatever, where you can also add new people to the team, because that's what we want to do for the future, of course, when people have experience with organizing Sustainability Week. So what we did for ourselves is we created 5 departments: and Secretariat, the LSW and NSW department, the Partnerships department, Finances, and Public Relations. So the leader of every of these departments are the core team members, so they are responsible for a whole department. Within these departments, we have different divisions. For example, in LSW, NSW department, they are, for example, some people are advisors division, so they are advising local sustainability weeks. Other will be in a toolbox division, where they create tools for everybody else to work with, or templates. The Secretariat is managing internal things, organizing meetings and stuff like that. So we have divided the overall work and also the responsibilities to lead these departments. Yeah, so we come to the team structure later, but that you see what we have here is that the department leaders are the core team, so that will be 5 people in a core team, and 2 of the core team members are the co-presidency. I will go into that team structures a little bit later. Any question to this slide? So let's move on to the next one. So this is basically, of course, maybe the departments will be named a little bit different, but this is a structure that you can absolutely take over for yourself. Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly 5 departments. There can be, I would say, 5 to 8 departments. Depending also if you have capacity to do higher education politics or not, for example, then it will be a department more or less. I mean, this is flexible, but that's, I would say, a good number to do that. Yeah, so what we would like you to do is also structure your team accordingly to this. To have this structure for your team, divides it into several departments. 5 to 8 is what we recommend. Several people are telling me that they can't hear me. Is that a problem for everybody? So is it my problem, or is it the problem of their... Okay, Marie-Claire writes to me that she can hear me, so it's not my, not the problem of my network. If you don't hear me, it will be the problem of your own network. Good. so I can continue. So we recommend you to do these structures for your team and also have the same opinion, so you also understand, because we gave you the template we give you for the team is divided also in two sections, in a core team and in additional members. So we would recommend you that the core team is leading one, or each core team member is leading one of these departments here. And all the other members will be related to one of the departments. They can also, of course, do work in two departments, but work in this inside of these departments and be led by the respective core team members. We also help you with that structuring. If you go into our team sheet, you see on the right side here, if you go to the field position, we actually provide this whole structure for you. And we also would like to encourage you to have two of these core team members to have a co-presidency and not just one person leading the whole team and taking the overall responsibilities. I also have a slide for that later. Yeah, so with this, with the available options in the position in the team sheet, you can actually also see what we thought of. So there will be a core team member will be a leader of one of these departments. Yeah, does that make sense so far? Is there any question? Just why we want to point out these structures as well is they're related to some basic principles. So one of them is democratic decisions. Decisions should be taken by the majority. So if you have a core team, if you need to find a quick decision on something of the daily base for the whole team, then you know exactly who to include. It can be either the whole team for very basic decisions, for very strategic decisions, and for more direct decisions, for example, when to put a deadline for what or whatever, that you have the core team, and the core team is then the body where majority of these people inside that defined group decides, if not consensus can be reached at all. If you cannot reach consensus, we also encourage you to try to find compromises that work for most of the people. But in the end, if there really is no way to come to consensus, then majority is always a good measure. Another thing that we actually found that is often not obeyed in the teams is the separation of power. In Switzerland, this is very well known because of our whole political system. It is actually based of this separation of power. So we have three, three bodies. One is a legislative body, one is an executive body, and one is a judicative body. So one is making decision, one is executing decision, and one is checking if everything went right according to the existing law or not. So that would be the judicative body. We also want to have that separation of power, that concept in our teams. So that is why we basically ask you to not have the main leaders. So the co-presidency should not be also treasurer. So because one person is responsible and having the overall responsibility is not the same person that is also handling money, because this is quite crucial. We have some background noise. Marie-Claire, can you mute it maybe? yeah, so that is an important thing, that you have a separated treasurer. It also gives for the overall system. I know that many of you are probably much more familiar with corruption and this stuff. It's just very much easier to prevent these things if the person taking decisions, the main leader, is not the same handling the money. So there is just a much bigger barrier that people work together and that they do not try to trick the system. And what that means as well is for the judicative body, for the one that would be a court on a state, in a state concept, that these are independent people and not part of the existing teams. So in case you have any issues, you need to carry out any investigation or whatever. If you have any problems that cannot be handled within your teams, then we kindly ask you to contact your advising body, whoever this is, if this is the National Sustainability Week or if this is Sustainability Week International. Just reach out to them, reach out to your advisor to help you solve such issues with a neutral perspective. And then one last thing why we also would like to promote the concept of a co-presidency. In earlier times, I was also very much used to just lead things by myself, like, for example, the Sustainability Week at my own university, which I led 2 years. Yeah, I was very much used to just leading by myself. So that means just one leader. But from a leading or management theory, it is very much important to have not only one leader or manager. You already see these two terms. And let's go a bit into further detail what I mean with this. If you see this slide, I took over this from Forbes. So there are basically two different leading people. One is more like a leader. A leader is actually not just the person saying where to go. A leader is more the person that creates a vision, that is more into helping others to reach change. They take more risks. They are more in for a long haul. They try to just coach others and build relationships, help them to grow network and so on. And the other type of leader is actually a manager and not a leader. That is the person that creates goals, that okay, maintain the status quo is maybe not the best term, but it means like that if you have an existing concept that this will be followed all the time. They control the risk. So because of course you need a vision for the long term, but in short term, and that is, for example, more for the local sustainability week, the pure organization of this week is actually more a manager's task than a leader's. So what you can derive from these two different types of people is that you basically need both of them for a long-term organization, because some things have to be just carried out, controlled, and people in the team have to be directed, that you get to a goal, for example, organizing the week, but you also need somebody who coaches people, who builds relationships, and who creates an overall vision for the long term. So that is the resolution from that you basically need both, and that is why we would encourage you to have a co-presidency, which includes, I mean, of course, there is not an exact leader doing only these things and an exact manager doing only these things, but the chance that you have both of these two types of people, or referring more to these types of people, is much bigger if you have a co-presidency, and that's actually also the case for Marie-Claire and me. So I would say that Marie-Claire is more the leader and I'm probably more the manager. Just that you can see if we work together very well, we have both aspects and we can or we keep the organization running in the long term, but also in reaching the short-term goals. Any question until here? Okay, then let me go to the next slide. A little bit about responsibilities. So what you will have in the end pretty much shown. Let me shortly go back to this one here. So it's written here, the ring around is written participators, but that could be also your team. So you have the departments with your department leaders, and around that in every department, a lot of people that are led by the department leaders. So what you will have is you have an overall team, you have the core team, which are these department leaders, and you have the co-presidency. And there should be a bit a division of responsibilities. So to make everything inclusive, the whole organization, you should make really important and strategic decisions should be made with the whole team. So everybody should be included and have their input on where to go on the long term and everything. Also, the whole team are the people who are carrying out the actual work. So if they're in one department responsible for just a part in this department, but they are doing the actual work. So that is very important to include all these people in very basic and very strategic decisions. The core team then has the responsibility to distribute the work accordingly and to coordinate the activities with the other departments and distribute the work within their own department. They also manage the daily business, so they check that everything is going on, that their department is running well, that people within their department feel well, that they feel understood. So there should be a good connection between the core team members among each other, but also from every core team person to the people in their own department. And then the co-presidency, as they are just two specific people from the core team, they just take the overall responsibilities for the whole organization, and they lead the core team, because also sometimes somebody has to manage or lead a little bit the core team and pushes people to do something and to check if everything is working accordingly, or if somebody in the core team needs help to coordinate stuff or whatever. And they also check if the overall progress is working well or not. And of course, one of the co-presidents has to have the role to communicate with other bodies, with the advising body, for example. That's why one of the co-presidents should be the main contact for the advising body, if this is National Sustainability Week or Sustainability Week International, but just to have one person that is responsible for this communication. This is very new, actually established this week, so nobody will have seen that yet. We will also provide that very soon. What we set up is a roadmap for all of you for every local sustainability week, because we told you now how you can structure your team and everything, having different departments and so on. But then is still the question, like, what should we do and when should we do it? So we've developed this kind of template roadmap. Of course, that can be changed for you a little bit, we would kindly ask you, as soon as it is ready, it is not yet, but as soon as it is ready, I will notify you and tell you can download this from our internal Google Drive, and then of course customize for yourself, because as you see, this includes the overall period where you can organize something, and for yourself you can just pick the week that you're planning for and specify it. What is not clear yet if we will set deadlines, because as you see, for example, we gave a range here. The ranges here are very big because this includes, of course, sustainability weeks from beginning of September until end of October, right? So that is also why here is quite a wide range where something could be established. But of course, that is referring to when your week will be. So if your week will be in beginning of September, the beginning of all these time frames are more important for you than these ones, and these ones at the very end are only important for you if you are organizing your week very late, so you have also more time with organizing all the preparations. What we are thinking from Sustainability Week International is if we want to put some deadlines, for example, that we say if a person organizes a local sustainability week in September, they will have to submit or register, for example, the latest in this week. And if it's in October, latest this week. So we are still discussing that, but that may be a point that will come up from this roadmap as well, because it is just sometimes not possible and also not very helpful, neither for the local team nor for us, if somebody is registering here just like a month before they actually want to execute the week, and it's not sufficient time to prepare. And with this graph, we would like to help you to structure also your preparations and see in which time frames you should have completed several steps. Also, some of the parts, especially in the end, will be important for us. For example, do final accounting and establish a final report and all these things. We will for sure set deadlines for that, because we will need in the end to merge everything and make a report for the international activities as well. So we need that, or we need some documents to receive them in time, also to do a final accounting for our organization overall. So there will be some deadlines for sure, but yeah, we'll also see if we want to structure that. But I hope this will help you a bit. Also, it is interesting to see if you have, of course, this is not exactly matching the departments, but approximately you can, of course, if you have more departments, also structure that more. So you're free to change this to fit very appropriate what you're doing in your local sustainability week. And if you know that your week will take place from 14th September to 20th of September, then you can maybe just pick the 2 weeks that are approximately when you wanna have this for your own week. Yeah, just for you to customize that and to see how it could be structured. Any questions to that? So we will provide that one. You will so you will get the Excel sheet, and there it is much more, or you have much better overview than here. Yeah, but this just as a template, and maybe also to derive some deadlines, just that you know that. No questions? Good, then let me go to the second last slide. So we were especially in the beginning, we were very often asked, what are the benefits to organize a sustainability week for the members by themselves, of course, but also for sustainability overall. So I divided these two aspects. What is the benefit for members? And I think the most important benefit for member is that they really develop their soft skills. If you want to have some if you want to have some real example for that, you can ask Jeffrey. The only sustainability week that we could carry out so far, because it just took place right before the COVID crisis came to us. So he can maybe tell you in a private conversation more about that, but it's really that you develop your soft skills, the things that university cannot really teach you, how to organize something, how to communicate with people and all these things, and to be just self-reliant, work on your own team, like a real teamwork, how to get from zero to a goal like the sustainability week. You will also increase your network, your connections, because you're maybe trying to reach out to speakers, you try to reach out to sponsors and everything. And this may be really important things. I can tell you from my own experience that I got in contact, because we often at our sustainability week, we often focus on the energy topic. And so we got in contact with energy providers in the region, so in Zurich and also in other places. And I still know people now from the management board of these companies, which is sometimes really helpful, especially if that, of course, also matches your field of studying. And also very important point is that you get an experience in leadership and management, especially if you're a core team or even a co-president, because this is something that you really rarely can have at our young age in any professional work, because you start at the bottom. So that is usually not the case that you will start in a leadership or a management position. And also this is actually something to mention in a CV. I can also tell you, because I recently had some applications, or recently did some applications and interviews, and it is people there, HR people, are really inspired if a person does so many things, leading so many things in their free time as well. So that is basically things that are benefits for the members by themselves, and this is especially important because university does not teach you; they only teach you basically technical skills, or so-called hard skills like using software or whatever. Then also there is a huge benefit for sustainability, and actually especially for youth empowerment, because an impression that the higher education institutions have often is that they are on the providing part, so they provide education and everything, and students are on the receiving part, so they do not really take into account young people or students to provide something, or to work on solutions and provide solutions. And by organizing this sustainability week, you basically show the higher education institution very, very clearly that you are able to do a project by yourself, to manage everything, to lead everything. And this gives you a base for negotiations. You also show that you are in the topic, that you know things about the topic. You also can educate others in a topic, and all these things just put you in a different position for negotiations with the higher education institution. That's also why you know that one of the things we wanted to do with you is to write a demand paper to your higher education institution to change, to provide possible solutions or ideas that you have to improve sustainable development at your university. But so far, also because time was pressuring and because you are not in the position yet or not that recognized by higher education institution yet, we probably will wait for that after you organized your first sustainability week, and then afterwards you are more well known and you proved that you're reliable and that you can work on things and provide solutions, and that will give you the base to go into negotiations and to talk to the higher education institution on a more equal level and look for solutions together with them. So any questions to that? So far we are at the end of this capacity building. I would kindly ask you if somebody has still any question on everything that Marie-Claire or me told so far, and also if there are any other important remarks for everybody, especially if somebody has another interesting topic for a future capacity building. We would kindly ask you to provide that as well. That doesn't have to be here. That can also be later. So that doesn't have to be necessarily here, but you can also do that later. Write an email or write it in the WhatsApp chat through your main contact person. If you have, any inputs on what other topics we can cover later on. Okay, I see a question of Samuel. Yes, please, you can speak.
Please, can you hear me? Can I have a reply?
Yes, you can hear me. I can hear you.
Okay. My question, I have basically two major questions also. And then the first one has to do with the structure. Okay, I don't know, but when the form we filled, we saw about 3 persons, I think so, as the team, core team members. So when I'm seeing the LS structure as 8 to 5 currently, because basically with what we had at first and with what I'm seeing now, I don't really know how that could correspond, but we could make this change anyway. But what I'm trying to say is that if we could also be able to include that in the format we had been given at first, and also spoke to us about in terms of the benefit, but that is really wonderful, because basically what we are currently into in this 21st century has to do with more of community service and also more of volunteering and all that. So that is wonderful. But what I want to ask is in terms of, because I have asked this question before now, so basically though we wanted to organize our LSW this month, and in fact this month, this is April, this month, but I spoke to you, sir, Mr. Patrick, about it, but we have to shift it because of the COVID-19 that is ravaging everywhere and all that. So we have to adhere also to the instruction from the ISW from Sweden directly to postpone all LSW week till further notice when it shall be communicated back to us. So my question is currently, since we want to organize this LSW, how do we go about it in terms of getting partners, okay? Because here in Nigeria, many people, they don't just want to join, but they want to know, okay, what am I getting out of it? That is basically what they are really interested in. And then you try your possible best to organize these stuff. It's not really easy for us in Nigeria, organizing the LSW, we have already spent a lot already for that, like in terms of getting across to people. In fact, we have already drafted out our plan already on a 4 days LSW week in University of Calabar. So, and those plans are distributed until instructions and also you just have to now, how do we, I spoke about funding, I spoke to you about funding this LSW, okay? We know we also have to play our part, which is what we have already started doing, okay? We've reached out to some government officials in terms of the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Education, and then also the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and yes, and the Ministry of Health. We reached out to them, and then we've gotten some support, technical support, in terms of nose marks, which we're going to use that day because we're then doing some environmental cleanup, tree planting, and all that. So we've gotten some technical support in terms of those nose marks we're going to need, in terms of hand gloves, and then we're also looking at venue. So we are waiting to the VC of the school for venue, and so to get support from the VC venue. But we also need some support, and we don't know how we're going to go about it. So that education I have, how do you go about raising funds? That's my second question. How do you go about raising funds? So please, I don't know if that could also be captured in this aspect, but please let me know what we're going to do about it. Thank you.
So I didn't understand everything correctly. The connection was a bit bad, but if I understood correctly, you want to ask if we provide help, technical help, and also funding and everything for your local sustainability week, right?
That is the second question. The first question is on structure. Okay, the first question is on team structure, which you said is about 5 to 8 departments. And I was asking, it wasn't captioned in the draft we got at first. Okay, I was only told that the LSW is made up of 3 core team members. So I would like to have more insight into the 63 core team members. And department, we have 5 to 8 departments.
Okay.
You also spoke about.
I got the first question was why we require 3 core team members, right? But now asking you to have 5 to 8 departments. So the reason is, as you know, that sustainability weeks can have a lot of different aspects. It can be very different in size. Some people organize maybe, I think the minimum requirement is also to have 3 events in this 1 week, but this is of course not what usual the people organize. So we have a minimum requirement for the registration, and that is also because 3 people can easily start together the whole thing and do the registration already and then increase their team later, because we know that very much team, they just increase later on and not from the beginning. So if you can start in the very beginning with the minimum people that you need, you can, for example, start with 2 co-presidents and a treasurer. That is the minimum, also to sufficiently take into account the separation of power, that somebody handles the money that is not co-president. So this is just the minimum requirement we asked you to do for registration, and then teams grow with time later on. So also somebody has to start and create these departments and then look for different people joining and give them a specific position. So these 3 people starting after registration, they can start to build up the team as well, and it will grow later on. This is, of course, this team structure like we showed it now is for bigger teams later on. But usually then later on you will have a lot of team members, and not that you just have because that was actually the situation I faced during my sustainability week, is that I was the leader because I started everything and also did the registration. Because it's Sustainability Week Switzerland, in the beginning there was no limitation of how many people should start it, so I started more or less alone. And then from that, later on, I had a team with 20 people. So I was basically trying to organize, coordinate, and communicate with 20 people at the same time. And this is just not feasible. And it's not far away from structured, right? And that's why these team structures, of course, they apply for bigger teams. So you also have at least, it also implicates that you have at least 5 to 8 core team members, and then in probably also some additional members that will help. But this will grow by time also when you look for more people to join and help just during the week itself. Yeah, then you have already fixed departments. You have a person leading that department, and you can easily divide. If that person tells you, I would like to help you in infrastructure, or I want to help you in event organizing or whatever, you can directly distribute that person into one department, and it will be clear who this person has to communicate with, because that is the core team member that is leading that department. So that just to divide this team structure from the minimum requirements. The minimum requirements, we didn't want to make them that high, because if we ask in the code of conduct to have a minimum requirement of 5 to 8 people, then it will be very hard to enter Sustainability Week International, and that's not what we want. So that for the first question. And for the second question, I actually don't want to elaborate too much on that here. I think that is more something to discuss with your advisor, because your advisor knows how it works with, in your case, of course, Samuel, that's me, but we can have a personal talk on this topic, on how much support we can give and everything.
Okay. I would like to ask another question. I don't know. Can I?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. For the members now, the core team members, since we have a likelihood of expanding it to up to 5 to 8, and how do we update their data to the ISW? Because I think if we are updating it, that means we also have to do an update in our data. I don't know if that's correct.
So we would ask you to, I mean, I would update the data for yourself as well, so you know who is responsible. And if you have the team sheet and you update it and you put the person, a new member joins, for example, you put it inside there and you write down there in the position, this person is in the infrastructure department, then it's kind of safe that you have this, and you have a proof that this person confirmed, saying that I will be helping in this. And if this person doesn't do this, so you can also, it's also a document for you to have some security and to ask people to do what they actually told that they will do. For us in Sustainability Week International, it is not so important to have an update for the teams all the time, but of course we will ask to send an updated team list after the Sustainability Week passed. I also just am actually in progress doing this with Jeffrey. So yeah, in Accra, Ghana, where the Sustainability Week took place, so that we know who, because of course the same here in the beginning, there were only a few people on this sheet, but Jeffrey now can also show who was really working on that for a longer time and who was really committed to do something. And this will also be a base for decision of who has a chance to receive some certificates from Sustainability Week International or from the local Sustainability Week.
Okay.
So we'll ask you to update that at some point.
And you spoke something about the presidency, which has to be which has to be two persons. Does this also imply with the LSW or just for the ISW alone?
We encourage you to do that as LSW as well.
Okay, now if we have two persons in presidency, that means they also are detached from getting hooked up with positions in the department, if I'm correct.
No, they can do both, as we do as well. So, for example, in Sustainability Week International, as you see, the co-presidency are two of the core team members, and this is for Sustainability Week International. As an example, it's Marie-Claire and me, and Marie-Claire is having the partnerships department, and I am leading the LSW NSW department. So this can be both. If you have problem to write that down in the positions, we can change that in the file.
Yeah, you should.
We can do that, no problem. But you have also a comment. There is in the team sheet, there is a comment column, so you can also put it there. Put the person as a co-president, and then write behind it in the comments what department he or she is leading. In addition.
Okay, I'll make the update and then send back to the mail as soon as possible. Probably once we are back together, and because currently we have over 12 members. Okay, and then we have in those 12 members, inclusive of the 3 core team members. So I think with this update, I will also have to talk with all of them and see how we can be able to have a smooth LSW here in Calabar, Nigeria.
Yes, sure. But let us discuss that in a direct talk, not here, because we will otherwise bore the other people. So thank you a lot for your questions, Samuel. Let me step over to the next questions. Davudu, you want to ask something? And afterwards, I will read the questions in the chat. If you can, Davudu, you can speak. Okay, if that not works, I will start with the questions in the chat. I guess the first one is from Tamzia, right? Can the local sustainability week take place only from the range of September to October, or any other month it can be done within the 12 months before the end of the year? No, we basically would like to ask you to do it within this range of September or October. This is also written in the code of conduct that everybody of you signed. It is written there that you should do it either in March or April, which was of course not possible this year due to the COVID-19 issue. But the second part would be September to October. We gave you, in addition, because we know that COVID-19 was a struggle, and then some of you are now already kind of very well prepared to conduct the week. We would also like to give some weeks in August, if that is a requirement for anybody. If you want to do something outside of this range, please get in contact with your advisor. This is also written in the code of conduct that Sustainability Week International can give exceptions from this rule, but we are not very likely to do it because, as I said, we are an official association based in Switzerland, so we also have some duties that we have to fulfill, and things are like doing financial accounting and all these things. And if people do sustainability weeks all over the year, maybe in some years we'll be able to do that when we have a lot of advisors, and it's not really important for us when it will be, but so far we are happy to have some structures. And the other thing is that you also have a global movement, so you have some months in a year or some period of time in a year where this is really focused. And this was also always something that people from Sustainability Week Switzerland, for example, they always wanted to have it in March. They only give themselves time in March. Of course, there are some exceptions, and you can discuss this if you want to do this with us, but generally we would be very happy if you can do it within this range that we already gave. I hope this is fine for Tamsir. Then Eloid asked if it's possible before September. Yes, as I said, we will, I think we'll pretty sure give you also chance to do it in August, because earlier is usually not a problem for us. So we have still time to collect all the data, all the reports, all the financial accountings. And especially because COVID destroyed our March and April phase. But still, please check with your advisor so we have the information. Then Kalmax asked, hi, my question is, could the sustainability development covered school drop out use on those who has never been to school? So that is also a question that we actually get very often. If people can participate that are not in university yet. So for us, we wrote that in our constitution for Sustainability Week International, for the association, and also for us, because the problem is we'll have to focus on something, right? If we try to do everything at the same time, it will not work out, and we'll have a huge mess. Also, it is very difficult to because we are dependent also on self-reliant work, right? Because the local sustainability weeks, of course, we gave you an advisor and we help you to structure and organize, but yeah, especially also with communication and everything in the international case, it's not very easy. So to do that even with people that are even less educated, like people in high school or even primary school, it is very, very difficult. But what we encourage you to do is your local sustainability week that you mainly organize at university, but if that is possible, you can also invite school classes or people that have never been to school. Try to make it open for public. Actually, that is also written in the code of conduct. It should be, if possible, open to public. So these people, if you can reach out to them and invite them to join the events that you're already organizing, that is actually the possibility for you to include people outside of school. So then Davudu wrote his question, is it possible to have team members from other schools and alumnus aside from the school host? That is referring to a similar thing what I said before. So make your events open to public so these people can participate. If you want to engage even more, do partnerships with NGOs. So that is also a way to include people that are not included yet. And of course, you can also have team members. But this is usually very difficult because it's also difficult to meet the people if you're not at the same university and so on. So we really encourage you to have the core team, this 75%. Okay, this one you have, this is a basic rule. You have to have 75% of the core team at university, also to make sure that people have possibility to meet each other, that you can conduct meetings and so on. But you can work together with others, do partnerships with NGOs. If professors or alumnus want to be included in the broader team, if they are still at university, for example, working there, or professors or people outside, if you have a possibility to be in contact with them in regular times and coordinate with them, that's absolutely fine. So in the broader team, you can also have other people as well. So it's not limited to students only. Of course, we would like to have young teams. We would like to have mainly student teams, because that's what we mainly focus on. And yeah, but in general, you are also allowed to do cooperations and everything with other groups, NGOs, whatever, or include even people directly. Especially, we have a lot of academic employees in some sustainability weeks, which are also very engaged, but not in the core team, because the leading should be done by students, by the young people that are most affected. Good. I hope I could clarify all these questions. Did I miss something, or are there any other questions to clarify? Marie-Claire, you want to add anything?
No, it's all perfect for me, and I'm very much looking forward. And if there is another question occurring, you can always reach out to the LSV advisors or to us directly, and also we will provide you with the slides. So yeah, looking very much forward, and I took note of the ideas for the next call. So Patrick and I will talk and organize the next call, and we look very much forward to interacting with you again.
Yes, also thank you a lot for your attention from my side, and also for the questions. It's always good to have some interactions, to have some opinions or things to clarify. So thanks a lot, and hope to see you next time again for another capacity building